Hello ladies and gentlemen, what's up, Pork Chopper here. And now in this video I'm going to be looking over Iggy and the new hero rework overview we got today. I also did a video talking about most of the patch notes, talking about the gameplay changes and hero changes you can expect when you open up Paragon for the first time on August the 8th. So you can check that video out down in the description below or at the end of this video. But in this video, like I said, I will be talking about the Iggy hero rework and what I think of the changes and how it really changes Iggy as a hero. One thing I always liked about Iggy was he was a very unique hero with his turret, and with the card rework happening on August the 8th too, I cannot wait to see what sort of combinations we can come up with. So let's talk about the rework. The first thing you're going to notice is his turrets and the size of them. They seem to be a lot bigger, but not just the turrets, but also the zone they are in. The biggest change to the turrets is that they have homing missiles now. Instead of having a slow burning effect, if you get within the radius they will start to shoot you, and even if you get out of it, the missile will home onto you and deal ability damage. Now I'm a massive fan of this change already because of it keeping to what Iggy is. Iggy is this unique hero who uses turrets, and they keep to that, and they even push towards that more with this rework, especially with his ultimate, which I'll get into it in a bit. The biggest problem with Iggy's turrets when transferring to Monolith was that they were too slow for a very sped up game compared to Legacy. In Legacy with team fights, people were at a walking speed, so the turrets were able to get good amount of damage off while still being strong zoning tools. When coming to Monolith, people were able to get in and out of them quickly, they didn't do much damage, and it was really easy to just avoid them. It seems that's not going to be the case anymore. With a few of these down, I'm sure wave clearing or really picking heroes off is going to be extremely satisfying, especially after having to wait around 9 months for there to be a reasonable Iggy. Turrets have always had their pros and cons in the game. Their pros have always been that if you can put them down in the right areas, again zone and control an area, mostly in defensive ways with a tower, but if you can put those down correctly in a team fight, it can be monumental for your team to win that fight and push on with the game. The cons are that it can be hard to put those turrets down in strategic places, so it's not easy for enemies to destroy, and destroying them is rather easy, especially for ranged heroes. However, it seems with the increased range of the turrets that a ranged hero will still have to get within the radius of the turret to destroy it, meaning they will take damage from the homing missiles. Another unique thing they have added with the turrets is that they are more focused on your basic attacks. I believe this still could be done before, but again with how slow the turrets shot out and how little damage they did, it was hardly noticeable. But depending on your basic attacks, they will focus that target. So say there's a target with a lot of health and the target with a low amount of health. If you've hit the basic attack on the low amount of health target, that means the turrets will focus that target down. Engin Scorch's new ability, well passive, is called Burning Sensation. It's a pretty simple idea that with any basic attack hit or hit with your turret, it will give a burning sensation, funny enough with the name, to the target. The idea here is that it's basically a damage over time tick to the effect, and successful hits with your basic attacks or turrets will refresh the rate. A nice idea to make him definitely more of a harasser as well, as just not a tanky hero that can defend lines, but he can also harass enemies to keep poking them away, something similar to say Phase Harvest Nettle. If you can keep hitting someone and poking them over and over again, they will pay the price. This makes the whole idea of Iggy being able to control an area, and if you're able to control that area well enough and be prepared for a team fight or just to be a complete nuisance pain, it means that you can definitely build more tanky, and this passive means you can deal a hell lot more damage than you could before. Iggy's next new ability is called Molotov. This is very similar to his Oil Spill. Oil Spill before on Legacy and mostly Monolith, because I'm mostly going to be referring to Monolith here, is that before it was more comboed with his turrets. The second your basic attack or turrets would hit the oils on the floor, it would deal a burning effect to an enemy, and it basically was there to help deal quick burst amount of damage if you're able to combo your turrets and molotovs together to try and burst down a hero. The problem before is, like I said, being able to keep people within the turret's range was really hard because how small the zone was, and the oil spill didn't do much damage, that it was only really useful against the minions. Now it seems with Molotov they've completely upped the game. You throw the Molotov down and within an area of effect, which is pretty much similar to what Iggy's old turret range was, that any enemy minion, hero or whatever you want in that range will start to burn. I think this ability, funnily enough, shows how bad Iggy was before. Before, you could have 4 of Iggy's turrets together and they would pretty much be the same effectiveness as a Molotov ability with the new Iggy rework. The nice unique thing about this ability though is that if people are trapped inside the Molotov, their ability armor will be reduced. So if you can combo this with your turrets again like before, with oil spill and your turrets before the rework, you could combo them together to do a bit extra damage and burn in effect. Now it reduces ability armor, meaning that if you can combo your turret with the Molotovs and just keep ramping that damage up, the enemies are going to have a pretty bad time. Also, a nice thing to note here as well, which they stated in the overview, is that it reduces their ability armor. So against casters or any ally hero that does a lot of ability damage, if they're hit by Molotov, it's a great time to jump in and use that ability damage, because simply enough, they're going to have low ability armor. It means extra damage, which is never a bad thing. And then finally, we have his ultimate Blaze. Like I said before, his kit is now more focused around his turret, because they got rid of that silly fire breathing knockback ultimate he had before. And what Blaze does is that it sends his turrets into overdrive. So Blaze will have a set duration. Any enemies caught within the turret's range will have been attacked by pretty much a machine gun worth of bullets. They will be slowed, and also the turrets will penetrate targets within that area. So against enemy wave minions or multiple heroes, and if you put your turrets at certain angles, meaning they're not all at the one spot, it means that they're going to be dealing significant damage to multiple enemies. Of course, there's ultimate benefits more depending how many turrets you can have down. You can have up to 4 turrets at once you upgrade Flame Turret fully. But what do I feel about these chains? Before this change happened, Iggy on Monolith, the best way you could play Iggy on Monolith was as a tanky off laner. That was the only way you really could do anything with him. The idea there would be you try to wait out the early game and mid to late game build that tanky damage, try to split push and defend lanes the best you can do. I still feel with this changes that he will most likely still be an off laner. I believe in the mid lane he just doesn't have that poking potential, even with his turrets being a bigger threat by a million times than before. I just feel they could get destroyed too easily, and that would be a problem for him. I also would like to say that he doesn't have any mobility. This has always been a problem with Iggy before, is he basically was a walk-in minion that did nothing. He had no mobility, he had no damage, his zoning tools, which made him so unique, were useless on Monolith when the transition happened from Legacy to Monolith. So it seems that he's going to be a really strong hero if you can set your turrets down, get in a good position and a strategic one, use your abilities well and cunning and combo with other heroes as well. His weakness is going to be the fact that he doesn't have any mobility, like I just said. You're going to have some sort of escapes, and if you do get caught out or your turrets simply aren't enough and you haven't placed them well, you're going to die pretty quickly in those fights. Well, that about does it for my opinions and looking at this overview and a few things I have noticed so far. It's going to be very interesting to see how Iggy and really every hero turns out in the new update. I for one cannot wait to get onto the new update to test all the new heroes out and make all the hero guides again. So stick around the channel for that guys, subscribe, like and share, and I'll see you all next time.